I'm going to show you guys how to play Under the Bridge by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So let's start with the intro. The two chords you want to think about mainly are this D chord and this F sharp major chord. So the D chord, the way I like to think of it, is an open C chord moved up 2 frets. And I have pinky on the 5th fret on the A string, ring finger on the 4th fret on the D string, index finger on the 2nd fret on the G string, and middle finger on the 3rd fret on the B string. And if you want, you can bar your index finger also to that high E string on the 2nd fret to get the full chord. The F sharp major is just a bar chord, so on the 2nd fret you bar your index finger, and then you have 4th fret and 4th fret on the A string and D string, and 3rd fret on the G string. I believe in the recording there are 2 different guitars doing this, but if you want to play both parts at the same time, both that high note and this, there's a way to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shape the D chord here, and I'm going to pick the A string, and at the same time, I'm going to use my ring finger or middle finger, whatever's comfortable, to pluck the B string as well. And then I'm going to use my pick for the rest of it. So it's going A string and B string at the same time. D string, G string, D string, B string, G string. And then you're going to walk down from this D to the F sharp. And how you're going to do that is... So what that is 4th fret and 2nd fret on the A string, and 5th fret, 4th fret, and then you land on the 2nd fret on the low E string. So, and what you're going to do when you get here is you're going to think about your F sharp chord, right? And you're going to try to picture that before it gets there. That way your index finger can be set up. You can play both the low E string and the B string at the same time. So I'm plucking the low E string and the B string at the same time. I'm going A string, D string, A string, G string, D string. And then on the D string, you're playing the 4th fret and the 2nd fret, and on the A string, you're playing the 5th fret and the 2nd fret. And this part's a little bit tough if you want to play both parts together, because the lower part is going like this. You're hammering on from the 4th fret to the 5th fret, so ring finger to pinky. And as you're doing that, you're going to set up the D chord again. The hard part about it is if you're playing both parts at the same time, you have to have your middle finger on there too while you're hammering those on. So it's a little tough, but it's possible. And then so you're going to play the same thing you did before, but instead of just going, you have little inflections here. So one is the hammer on. The second one is that hammer on and pull off of the pinky on the B string. You got to take your pinky off from the A string so that you can use it to hammer on the 5th fret on the B string and pull it off real quick like this. So. And then what you're going to do is slide this chord up. He's only playing the bottom 2 notes of these chords. So 5th fret on the A string and 4th fret on the D string to 7th fret on the A string and 6th fret on the D string. So you're going to pick the first one, and then once you have slid it up, you pick it again. Then when you get back to the F sharp, you don't have to pluck the B string again with the low E string. You just play the low E string. And you're going to do the same walk down thing. This is the start of the next half. You're going to do that same hammer-on thing where you're playing the B string and you're hammering on the 4th fret to the 5th fret on the A string at the same time. And the other difference here is you're going to play an extra A string here. The rest of it is the same as the first part. So the whole thing goes like this. Okay, so for the verse, you're going to think of mainly these 5 chords here. So you have E major, B major, C sharp minor, A flat minor, and A. And what I'm actually going to do is with all the bar chords on the low E string, so the B, C sharp minor, G sharp minor, and the A, instead of barring my index finger, I'm going to use my thumb there. This is how John Frusciante is able to add little licks here. So at first you're playing the chords sort of chill, so I'm going E, B, and then what he likes to do for the C minor is slide up your ring finger and pinky from the 9th fret on the A string and the D string to the 11th fret on the A string and D string. So after you go through those chords, you can land on this E major 7 chord. It's almost your straight E chord, just with one different note. So you're lowering the 9th fret on the G string to an 8th fret. So that's an E major 7. He keeps it very chill at the very beginning of the first verse. And then when he gets into it, he adds all those little decorative lines. All you really got to think for this part is those main chords. And if you can really picture those chords, you have a lot of freedom to add what he's doing, those little hammer-ons and stuff, or add your own if you're playing notes from the scale. So just to show you what he's doing, so he's doing nothing on the E really. When he gets to the B, your middle finger's on the G string on the 8th fret, right? So you're gonna hammer on and pull off your pinky on the 9th fret. And then you're gonna put your pinky back on the 9th fret on the D string, where it is for the straight chord there. So what you get is this. This part, again, you're sliding up your ring and pinky from the 9th fret to the 11th fret on the A string and the D string. As soon as you slide up, you're gonna set up your C sharp minor chord and just play the lower part of the chord. So really just these two notes. You can include the low E string if you want. And then these two notes here, the G string and the B string. Back and forth like that. And then here you're just playing the straight chords, so G sharp minor to A. And then that thing, you're going to use your pinky again for another decorative lick. And you're going to hammer on from the 5th fret on the high E string to the 7th fret and pull off. Just like that. Then you're going to pick the B string. The second time, you're just going to go straight to the A chord. And just pick the E string, B string, and G string. That's the main pattern there. There are a couple times he switches it up a little bit. Sometimes he just slides this up to the C sharp minor and doesn't do the back and forth sort of thing, and it's just... You can also mess around with the B chord here. You can basically hammer on and pull off any note on the 9th fret from the G string to the high E string with your pinky. So while you're holding the B chord, you have those three options. There are more than that, but that's something to start with. Another cool thing is with the C sharp minor, if you think of C sharp minor pentatonic, if you picture that scale, you can play any of those notes in there too. Do the same thing with the A chord if you want. With the E chord, one thing you can do that he does a couple times is slide your ring finger from the 9th fret on the A string to the 11th fret on the A string. It's the same chord, you're just going to play those three notes from the D string to the B string with your index finger instead. So it's like... And then land on this E major 7 chord. In terms of your strumming hand for the verse, you want to leave your hand sort of in a constant 8th note motion. So as if you're going like... And you're just basically omitting the notes that you don't want to play, so... Notice how my hand is continuously moving. There's no stopping in the motion. If you're not super comfortable with strumming patterns, I would practice some basic ones first, just because you want to be comfortable leaving your hand in a constant motion so you're not doing the thing that you see a lot of people do. You know, no movement, you're just trying to match the rhythm, and by doing that your hand is sort of stiff and you're only picking when you want to hear that note. A lot of times you mix up like whether to go up or down. So you want to get really used to this, that motion. It's going to help a lot for this song. So you can practice playing just on every downbeat, right? Notice how with all those different patterns, my hand still looks like that. If you were to mute it, it would look like I'm just going dot, 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 dot. Anyway, so the chorus. Same deal with the strumming hand. You're gonna keep it in that constant motion. So those first two chords, you're gonna do F sharp minor, which is this bar chord here. Bar your index finger on the 9th fret from the A string to the high E string, and then you have 11th fret on the D string and G string, and 10th fret on the B string. And then back to this E chord. So down, 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 down. And then this chord is a B chord. It's just a B triad. It's like an open D chord shape. If you know an open D chord, you're just moving that up all the way till you have 11th fret on the G string, 12th fret on the B string, and 11th fret on the high E string. So then you go right back to the F sharp minor chord. And then you can play those two ghost notes there at the end if you want. Down, up. And then you go back to the verse. So the last part of the song is that whole outro part, right? The chords for this part are A. You can think of an A bar chord, right? Or the way we were playing it with your thumb. With these chords, I'm going to leave the high E string open. And really, you can focus just on these three notes, the D string, G string, and B string. 7th fret, 6th fret, and 5th fret. I'm going to play the open E too. Then what you're going to do is change that to an A minor. So all you have to do for that is move the 3rd down. So the 3rd is this note here. That's the 6th fret on the G string. So that's C sharp is going to go down to a C. I find it more comfortable to switch to pinky for the 7th fret on the D string, and then index finger on the 5th fret on the G string, middle finger on the 5th fret on the B string. And I'm keeping that open E in there. You can do it by barring your index finger, but I find it a little tough to bar just on 2 strings and then have to keep your finger from hitting that E string. Whatever's more comfortable. Then you're just going to move this A shape down to G. So down a whole step, so it's going to be 5th fret, 4th fret, and 3rd fret on the same strings, still with the high E string on top. Move it down one more whole step, so then it's going to be 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 1st fret. So again, this part starts off a little simplified, then there's like a little extended break sort of thing where the guitar is going like. So those chords are F major 7. You can think F major bar chord, sort of like this E chord moved up half a step. And then you're going to add your pinky on the 12th fret on the high E string. And that's your major 7. So then what you're going to do is move this shape down to E, and then your pinky is going to go on the 10th fret on the high E string. So that's an E7. And then this one's a little weird, but it's just the F major 7 moved up a whole step. So it's G, this is a G, and then you have your major 7, which is the 14th fret on the high E string. So G major 7, and it's just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So here you're actually playing 8th notes. And then you go back to. So when you get back into it, same chords. When you get to the F sharp major 7 here, he does this lick here. You keep the chord shape, but you can hammer on your middle finger from the open G string to the 2nd fret. Then you pick the B string that has your index finger on it on the first fret. Then you play the second fret again on the G string, and then open G. So, and the second time, it's almost the same thing. You're hammering on. You're just adding one more note at the end, and it's a slightly different rhythm. So, same thing, hammer on, and B string, then second fret on G string, open G string, second fret on G string again. And if you want, you can play these as full chords instead of just these little ones. A few times he does this, so for the F chord, you leave your index finger out of it, and then put it on. So. There's a little lick he does at the end when the rest of the instruments sort of die down and it's more guitar focused. So what you can do there, A, and then instead of this A minor down here, you can play an A minor down here, which is just second fret on the G string, first fret on the B string, and open E. That way you can play that third fret on the high E string. You can think of just an open A minor chord, right? And you're just focusing on those top three strings. You can also just picture this and do that if you want. So that's pinky on the 8th fret on the B string. And that way you don't have to jump from there to there. Open B and then bring your index finger onto the first fret. You can also do stuff like this. All this is like A minor pentatonic. So when you get to the A minor, you can play any of those A minor pentatonic things. And you end on just an A chord. So that's the song. I have to say the one trick to playing like John Frusciante would be adding these decorative little licks within the chords. And to do that, you sort of have to know which notes fit in the scale, right? So you have to know what key you're in. But a lot of the times when you play these bar chords with your thumb and stuff, you have a lot of freedom to play within and around that chord. I hope this was helpful. Leave any questions in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.